I feel you're in a unique position for most of us whiteys because we are lucky that we don't deal with racism as a mental health concern.
Yeah.
So I was interested in, finding out what that's like for you.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, I'll try my best to. Yeah.
The 5 Elements of Letting Go, the podcast. Discussing mental health openly and freely, and learning tools and techniques to find peace. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 5 Elements of Letting Go. I'm Dr. Jared McCollum. My guest tonight is Glenn Lynch. Glenn is he's living in Okotoks for what, 15?
14 years now. I'm going on 14 years.
Yeah, about the same time. I think we both moved in Okotoks around the same time.
Yeah.
And Glenn has 3 amazing children.
Yes, ma'am.
And an incredible, powerful wife,
Yeah,
Diane. And you yourself are one of the kindest people I know. Very positive.
Oh, geez, thanks.
And he is known on the internet as the what is the title of what you do for WestJet?
So it's basically the tag guy. So I guess the turnaround crew. So the guy who brings the planes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently.
But I am surprised I keep finding you everywhere on the internet.
It's funny. I've never seen them. I see like once in a blue moon, I'll find one, or someone's like, "Hey, I saw you on the internet." What are you talking about? Okay, sure.
Well, I saw one recently. Do you know who Mel Robbins is?
Not even a clue.
Okay, so Mel Robbins she's a big time lawyer and kind of stressed out and kind of done with that whole world, and she transitioned into coaching and motivational speaking and all that. She's written a few books, and she recently put out a video on finding your passion and how she feels that your passion, like we get it confused a lot of time. We think this is something that and people find it very hard to figure out it is because of how it's defined. Yeah. And she defines passion as like finding your passion and what is the thing that gives you energy?
Yeah.
What gives you energy, gets you excited, and gets you moving. And when she describes that in her video, what does she show? She shows a picture of you dancing on the runway, guiding in a plane. So when Mel Robbins thinks about finding your passion in whatever you do, she thinks of you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I like on the side, like I do it just because I guess there's a lot of people out there who, when they're on their plane, especially in this time right now, but there's a lot of people who, they're not in the mood for being on a plane. Everybody knows when you get in the airport, you're not the happiest person ever. It's not until you get home that you're happy. Like I can tell you one story. So we're pushing a plane out, and I think the plane was about 20 minutes late being pushed out. And there was a gentleman watching because it was one of the smaller planes. Yeah. And we're getting ready to push, or not push, but we're still loading bags, and I'm, of course, just dancing around on the side, and he's looking as grumpy as anything the entire time.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, okay, well, whatever, I'm going to still do whatever I want to do. I'm just going to do it and have fun with it. So if anybody's ever seen me do it, when the plane's being pushed out by the machine, the big pushback of the truck thing, I will moonwalk and I will dance the entire way. And this time was actually a fairly long one. And I looked over and he's still looking grumpy as anything. And we pushed off, disconnect, and we walk away. And I like to, along with my other compatriots, we like to wave every once in a while. Mm-hmm. So this plane is moving out, I'm waving, and the funniest thing, nobody except for that grumpy guy was the person who waved at me, and he's waving, a big smile on his face. I was like, oh, see, and that's the reason why I do that stuff.
Yeah, you made his day.
Yep. It's one of those things. I have a good time doing it that way, and then they have a good time, hopefully. I have a good day when they're like landing or leaving.
Well, and you is there a day you don't dance?
The only time really I don't, I'll dance when a plane comes in pretty much all the time. But the only time I don't, I think the one time I did it was last year. It was, I think, minus 30 something. And it was cold as anything. And I was, you can't, because I'm wearing steel toe boots, like the big, thick, heavy boots on ice. So I was scared to fall. But that's the only time. Otherwise, pretty much every day, it's might as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing I'll share about Glenn is, you know, he's been dancing for a long time. And who have you danced for? Like, you've danced for bands and like singers, haven't you?
Yeah. Geez. Wow. Let's see. Fresh Prince. So Will Smith way back in the day. So if anybody's remembered, like Maestro Fresh West.
I loved Maestro Fresh West.
And then like Dream Warriors, and then there's a group. Dream Warriors, Maestro, Public Enemy.
Wow.
And then some like smaller groups. Like there's a group, actually the original group we danced with, anybody who's probably a little younger in their 30s may have heard of a group called Project Wise, and then they became Dead Celebrity Status. Now it's the guys I dance with for pretty much my entire time dancing before I left. So yeah, I've had fun doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was all just wanted to meet girls. That was the way I did it. It was dancing because I wanted to meet girls.
Well, it worked.
Yep. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it worked. It worked a little bit.
That's awesome. And now you dance for your kids and teach them how to dance.
Yes, but now they dance their own little style, and I try not to embarrass them the best I can. I'm waiting. I am so waiting for a wedding. I'm waiting for their wedding so badly because I'm going to be that old guy. Hey, remember the Sunday? Just to embarrass me.
And break out, and you have to do those dances you guys have done together.
Oh yes, yes, yeah. You know, Diane's been pushing that for a while, so she can't wait for the wedding for us to do. If anybody's ever seen it, we did a Dr. Frankenstein type of thing.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That one's awesome.
So the kid, she's like, I hope you guys get to do that when they get married. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem, yeah. But,
yeah, because Glenn, you're also a dance instructor.
Yeah, I took a little break. Now I might be going back at it again in a little while, maybe next year or so. This year coming, actually, I'm going to go back to doing that, just because it's fun. It's the thing of when you actually show someone a move, and the little kid, especially the light up in their eyes when they're like, I can't dance, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't figure this out, and they finally get the move and they're all happy.
Yeah,
best feeling.
Yeah, and you've been lucky enough to actually teach your kids. Like, be the teacher in some of their classes?
Yeah.
Because you guys have done competitions.
Yeah, we've done competitions. We did competitions for about, I think, 4 years. I think around there, about 4 years, I think. Yeah. I've had its ups and downs when it comes to that. The kids are, they argue a bit more when it's dad. And in class, during class, they argue a little bit, but I'm very happy to have that opportunity. Because you can't say that much. Where I dance with my kids. My job, I had my kids at my job with me. How fun is that? Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I will put a link in the description below for everyone so they can see his Frankenstein dance. Because that's up online. Is it on YouTube or is it just in your Facebook profile?
I think it's in the Facebook. We have a page.
For the
dancing,
the dance group.
Laughing with the Lynches. That's what it was. I think it was Laughing with the Lynches in our Facebook page. And then I think we have it there along with some other gags that we tend to try and cause trouble with. Okay, I'll definitely put up there. Yeah, because your family has a YouTube page. I'm sorry, not a YouTube, but a Facebook page where you share all the silly, crazy, fun things and positive things you guys share. Yeah, we try and keep people happy. We've had to take a little bit of a break for a bit, but we're getting back at it again to cause a little trouble. We have a little lady now with, especially with a little addition, Rhea, our little one. She's going to be an interesting individual when she gets older. So it's now trying to get her on video because she does all these weird things, but I guess it's typical for every other child. But for her, she does all these weird things, and then as soon as you put the video camera on, she knows she has the camera on, so no, I'm not going to do it. Or no, I'm not going to do it. Here, come on, do
Oh,
this
so
more."
she's the opposite of you.
Complete opposite. She'll do it all in time, but as soon as it comes to something, camera coming on, nope, she's done.
No, that's awesome. You know, it's something interesting, you know, along with your Laughing with the Lynch's page, because you guys, as your family, you do some really cute, amazing things for the community, going around and doing stuff. You know, I have a patient the other day who was in here, and she, I think it was like 1 or 2 years ago, she was just walking along through downtown or something, and your family was out there handing out hearts.
Yeah.
And she was in here, no lie, just 2 weeks ago, and said to me, "You know that family that, you know, comes in here that gave me that heart? If you see them, you let them know I still have that heart up on my fridge. And every day I see it, I smile and think of that cute, adorable family."
You know, that was when it was how'd that come about? It was just there was a weird time again going on through the world, and Keegan. If anybody's met Keegan, he has the biggest heart in the entire
sensitive soul.
Yeah,
yeah,
biggest heart, and he came up with this idea of giving hearts out to people and saying, you know, how special they are, and he wanted to make sure that everybody around him, everybody in the world is happy. And if anybody who's been in Walmart or Safeway or even Costco, who's been walking around, kind of know who he is by him randomly just going, "Hey, you want a hug?" And he'll go and give anybody a hug just for living, just because he knows they might need it.
Yeah.
So he's a bit of an inspiration when it comes to that for us. He's kind of pushed us to make, you know, smile and be happy. And so, yeah, he started that, and we try and do things like, you know, we walked around with free hug T-shirts, and we just walk around in the summer randomly. "Hey, you want a hug? Sure, come on, have a hug."
Yeah.
You know, I did it. Like at first, I was all grumpy because you know, it's a dad thing to do. Is just be grumpy about it, but
It's hard as an adult to be open to that and just embrace that just childlike love and acceptance for everyone.
Yeah. So when we started doing it, I was a little grumpy about it, but then after a while, you know, you think about it. I'm 6'5" or 4, I should say, 4 and a bit.
We'll let you be 6'5" today.
Yeah, 6'5" today. So it was 6'5", and people say it can be intimidating. And you know, as it ties in with what's going on today, there's a little racial tension going on, and people see me being who I am at this big, that I'm either some intimidating guy or some mean, cross, tough black guy. And so I go around with a big smile on my face and giving that big hug. "Hey, you want a hug? Sure. Yeah. Hey," trying to disarm some people and give them a different, I guess perception is the word. Yeah, perception of what you know. Not all black people are ghetto people. Not all black people are, you know, hey, you know what, we're all tough and stuff like that. You know, so just it was just a way to disarm people. I guess.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you know, not every big black man's a scary man. Sometimes they have to put on that persona to protect themselves. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Trust me, if you knew me before I moved, actually, yeah, pretty much before I moved here, and even there's days when I'm here like that, at one point I was 6 foot, almost 6'5", but 200 and almost 220.
Wow.
Like,
big dude.
Big dude. And just, I was in a mood of not hating, that's not the right way to phrase it, but just in that world of, you know, everybody out there, all people out there don't like me for some reason, so I'm just going to come up and be angry and tough the entire time.
I'm going to put on that protection, that barrier protection.
That's what it was.
Through my, you know, my look and my persona, so that I can't be hurt.
Yeah. So it was, I had, you know, multiple levels or faces back then, and now I'm trying to push it out and just be my normal self.
I did the same thing in high school.
Yep.
You know, the beard and the long hair, leather jacket, bandana, trying to be this tough SOB because, you know, I grew up in a rough part of Calgary, and when you're a big guy already, everyone wants to knock you down and see who's the big guy. Yep. So I was constantly, like, anytime you go to a party, someone sees, oh, that's the big guy in the room, let's let's show him I'm the alpha dog. So people would pick fights with me all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I remember a lot of it was, and I don't know what I should be saying. I apologize. But I apologize for it might be coming into a lot of racial stuff, but
you can anything you want. You're even allowed to swear on this show.
Oh no, well, I try not to. No, sorry. But when I growing up, I grew up in Northern Ontario, a place called Sudbury, and when I was in high school, I can't remember how many hundreds of people there were in the school, but I grew up in a school where it was an all boys Catholic school, and the entire school was pretty much all athletes, and it was one black guy per grade. That's literally the way it was.
Oh my goodness!
So the entire time, we had all of us had to kind of put on this act because it's when I first moved up there, I moved from Toronto to Sudbury, and I can equate that to moving from. Might as well say I moved from Brooklyn, New York, the stereotypical Brooklyn, New York of the 80s and 90s, and moved to Sudbury. So everybody thought I was like the tough black guy who can dance. At the time, I couldn't really dance, and play basketball and do everything. I have a funny story about basketball, me and playing basketball, but I can tell you about that another time. But I came up with this. It was just the entire time like you said, someone trying to knock you down. Oh, you're a tough black guy. I'm going to prove I'm tough. I'm going to beat up the black guy at the school, or beat up the black when we go into tournaments for basketball. It's we're going to fight and beat up that black guy because that way it shows that I'm a tough person. And
because that's part of racism too. They say, "Oh, he's the black guy on the team.
Yeah,
well, he must be awesome at basketball."
Oh, good gosh, no. All right, I'll try to be quick.
No, we got lots of time. You tell me your story.
So, like I said, I moved from Toronto to Sudbury, and because we're in Alberta, Toronto is seen as New York when it comes to basketball. Everybody lives in Toronto. If you're black, you pretty much don't play basketball. So I moved to Sudbury with my dad. I was more of a book nerd. I played basketball. Yes, I did, but I was that kid who would get the rebound, throw it and miss, and it'd be right underneath the net.
That sounds like me in basketball.
Oh yeah. So I went and tried out for the team. Needless to say, I didn't have to go to I didn't try out. The first way is I didn't try out. Tryout was, hey coach, I want to play. Deal, you're on. That's what it was. And so I got on, and then didn't really have to go to practice for the first little bit. Didn't really go to practice. And then we had our first real game. And so everybody's like, oh, wow, we got a black guy from Toronto. Wow, we got a black guy from Toronto. We're gonna win cities. We're going to win cities. Yeah, we got a black guy from Toronto. So I sat on the bench for the first little bit in the gym, and had fans and everything, and everybody was all there. And so the coach finally calls me in. Yeah, Glenn, come on in. I'm like, all right, I'm going in. And then he was like, yeah, Glenn said, yeah, we're going to win, yeah. So I got the ball at the top of the 3-point line, and I looked to my left and looked to my right, and did the biggest granny shot I could possibly do. So for all those of you who know, a granny shot is underhand, not overhand. And I did the underhand granny shot, and it hit the top of the backboard, not even close to the rim. The silence in a gym, I've never heard it be so quiet in there. And then everybody's kind of like, did he just do a granny? And the boos that erupted, this was a home game. The boos that erupted, and the coach was like, "You here," put me on the bench.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I did get better, and I ended up becoming a better basketball player. But yeah, it was the stereotype of black guy being fast, black guy able to play basketball, and I had every talent in the world. Hey, I'm funny, which really I don't think so. But
you're a funny guy.
Yeah. The funny, and you can do the music, and you're musical, and you can sing, and and I'm like, no, not really. It wasn't really like that. I actually had to develop that because of the stereotype.
Yeah.
And again, that's yet another mask that was put on.
Sounds like my first basketball experience. They put me on the basketball team in junior high, and I wasn't really interested in basketball, but I'm Mormon.
Yeah.
And Mormon kids, for some reason, love basketball. So they assumed I could play basketball. And they put me on the team, and I remember the first time I went out, sat on the bench for a while. They put me out there, and I think I traveled immediately. And the coach just saw me sitting there like, like a deer in headlights. And he's just like, sit down, McCollum. Yep. And I never played basketball again.
It was one of those things where I was like, okay, well, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Everybody thinks I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. And yeah, I dribbled looking at my hands the entire time. And, it's so embarrassing. Yeah. So very bad.
So was there a difference in how you, so living in Toronto, was there a difference, when was the first time you experienced racism? Was it in Toronto? Was it in Sudbury?
Well, I'll be honest. I first of all, I moved around a lot. I was born in Ottawa and grew up there, and then moved to Toronto for a little bit, and then moved to Sudbury, and then moved around. But anyway, my first experience, I will be honest, I wouldn't. The way I say it, it's an experience, and even though I don't know it, it was an experience. My mom and I were at a bus stop. I was, I think, a year, maybe. I think she said a year or 2 years old, and we were waiting for the bus. And this white gentleman came up to my mom and said, "Oh, he's just a cute baby." And my mom's like, "Yeah," she was, pretty proud. I was, was a cute baby, of course. But she said, "Yeah, thank you." And he said, "He'd look even better hanging from my tree." And that's my mom.
What the fuck? Really?
Yeah, dead serious.
Oh my goodness!
Yep,
about a child.
Yeah, about a child. This was in Ottawa.
And you call him a gentleman. I wouldn't call that man a gentleman.
Well, yeah.
You're too nice.
I'm trying to, I do try and be, I try and look at the positive for everybody.
Yeah, good for you.
That was one of my first experiences. Growing up, so in grade school, one of the schools I went to, I was in kindergarten, and my mom was mad and livid. Because growing up in Ottawa, there was black people. It was almost like a community. Everybody knew who everybody was, even though Ottawa was huge. Mm-hmm. The school we went to, my brother and I, he got put back a grade, and then come to find out that every black child that was in that school was getting put back a grade and saying they weren't smart enough or whatever. So my mom got mad and took me out right away. Come to they tested my brother later on, and the genius level. He's my brother, of course. I'm not gonna say he's a genius, but they tested him later. He was a smart individual, but they said the teachers were saying because we moved to a different area, and they were wondering why this boy was put back in grade because there was no need for it, and else he shouldn't have been in the stereotypical class, they show on TV where the kids are walking into walls and are just
yeah.
So he was in that class for a good chunk of his life, and that's what it was for us growing up. Was for the first little bit was that, and then going up in school. Like I said, Ottawa, I was pretty much the only black child in most of the schools because I was going to a Catholic school. I was pretty much the only black child in school when I was living in Ottawa. There every year, pretty much we moved around a bit. In every school, I was the only black kid, and so every year, either I had kids calling me names, or I had to find some way to prove myself. So I had to do things like people calling, be the class clown, even though I wasn't, it wasn't in my nature, but it was like one of the first, very honestly, the very first mask I put on as a kid was just being that class clown just to try and fit in. Yeah. I loved school and I loved learning, but I just might as well find some way to have people like me because, it's that black kid. I remember going to I had a birthday party, and I invited the entire class, and I think it was just me and two other kids that ended up showing up and going to McDonald's for a birthday party. It was weird growing up, I guess. A little weird. That's an easy way to say it, but yeah.
Kind way to say it. Yeah. So how did that affect your mental health as a child?
You know what? It was, you end up growing up thinking that there's something wrong with you. Mm. Always. You just end up thinking that it's you. There's something wrong with you. That no matter what you do, you're dirty, you're dumb, you're stupid, you don't belong. Even to this day, it's funny because if I think I've told you that before. Everybody that sees me, I do act. I'm fairly outgoing. However, I'm fairly introverted. Anybody who knows me in the family member knows I'm fairly introverted. I'm usually a quiet person. But this had made me put on like my first mask was me being that loudmouth kid just so I can try and fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's affected me in the sense that it's hard to discern where, how can I phrase this, when the real me and, the fake me.
Mm-hmm.
So people meet me and say, oh, wow, yeah, you're so funny and so outgoing. And then when I sit down and people ask me to hang out for drinks, I'm quiet. I say, you don't say anything. Yeah, I'm a fairly quiet person. I'm not really, and that puts more stress on me. So to the point that I don't go out anymore. I stay at home because it's, I'm always worried about what people think about me being so quiet. So now I'm introverted. I think I've been here 13 years, and I know of people, and I have people ask me to come out all the time, but I do not go out. I come home, I hang out with my beautiful wife and my kids, and that's about it now. Because, like I said, growing up, it's made me self-conscious isn't even the word for it. I am so hyper aware and hypersensitive of the way people think about me that I am so self-conscious about it that I stay at home now. It's easier to stay home than go out.
It's crazy what racism does, because here it is. You think as a child, and even it's affecting you into your life today, that there's something wrong with me, when it's everyone else that is the one that has the problem.
That's it. It's true. It wasn't until this whole thing this year with Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, where I actually, this is honestly, this is one of the, I couldn't say the first time, one of the real times I've actually talked about it and spoke out. Every other time it's, I wouldn't say, I would say it. You're like not house, they say that the same, the house Negro and the field Negro. So I was the house Negro. Now, if you ever heard that concept, the concept of being, field Negroes are treated like crap and blah, 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 and they're looking to escape and look to live life.
Mm-hmm.
The house Negroes are the guys who are happy to be at home. They think they got it. They think they have it good, and they don't want to disrupt anything.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of struggle with that, in the sense that I wasn't happy with what's going on, but I didn't want to cause too much of trouble because, you didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be seen as an angry black man because, if something's going on, if there is a racial issue, or someone says something that's, that's not appropriate, I'm going to say it nicely, I'm going to say it not appropriate, I would, back in the day, I just would laugh and smile. I remember through high school, guys would call me Mojo or, Mooly and all these, they wouldn't say the N-word, but they would get close to it. Or jokingly, one guy one time in high school he yelled in the hallway, and I don't know how I didn't snap. He called me a nig guard. A nig guard is actually a cheap, I think it's someone, I think the word, definition is someone who's really cheap.
Ouch.
But he thought it was funny just to call me that because he thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I'm gonna get as close and be as controversial and
say, see, I'm just joking. It's just this word. But it's made me now. Now that I felt this year I had to say something. And I got to thank my wife, because Diane was the one that kind of started getting me to push me to start speaking, because I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I really don't want to talk. But it helped me see that there's nothing really wrong with me. It's not my fault that things like this. And it helped me get my truth out and my story out. because one of the things is too is I would downplay the whole racial thing and say, oh no, it's not that bad, or they didn't really mean that. If someone said something, if someone made a comment to me or gave me a look, it's like, oh no. And then it's so weird because sometimes I think that way, and other days I have my backup and I'm just waiting and looking for someone to cause trouble. So now, I've had days of walking into a grocery store and just sitting there, and someone's like, "Hi, don't look at me. You don't look at me," and just because. Well,
and it's got to be. Again, we don't experience this as white people.
No.
We don't walk in a grocery store and be the only one our color in the whole grocery store.
Yeah.
Like I've lived in Southern California, and I know what it's like to walk into a Latino grocery store and be the only white, one of the only white guys in the whole store, or in a black neighborhood, not knocking doors as a missionary and being the only white guy, and But the thing is, I can go in those places and they don't treat me like shit.
No.
Because they know what it's like and they don't want to treat people like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's one of those things I remember, saying, going to the grocery store. Like I said, I got lots of stories. So I'll try not to go over I'll try not to be too verbose with them. But recently, I think it was maybe 2-3 years ago, my sons and I were walking in Walmart here in Okotoks, and if anybody's met my boys, they know, you gotta know, these are the most polite, quiet, they say sir and ma'am to everybody, and this is just, that's them. They will not call you anything else except for sir, ma'am, mister, whatever your name is, or Mrs., whatever your name is. They don't say anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we were walking in, and we're walking down an aisle, and we turned in to the groceries. We were shopping for groceries. We're turning down the aisle, walking one way. This lady turns and walks in the other way. And she walks by about 2-3 other families and comes right directly to me. And she's got an empty can of Sprite. She's like, "Did you take this?" "No, we didn't." "No." "Did your kids take it?" "No." And she goes by me and still goes to the boys and says, "Did you take this?" And to my son, Jalen. And Jalen's a very sensitive guy. And he's back up and just kind of scared and worried. And
he's being attacked.
Yeah, and same thing with Keegan. It's the same thing. I'm like, "No, we didn't take it." And now, this is where I can't be that angry black guy, because if I say, I can't show that I'm angry because, someone's going to say something else later. But we're walking down, and then I could hear her around the corner, and we're talking to one of the employees, and she's like, "I know he took it, and I just can't prove it." If I said no, first of all, we were walking where she came from, like it was the opposite end of the whole entire aisle.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have been anywhere near there. Second of all, there's 4 other families in that aisle she could have talked to, but no, she went straight to us.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm going off on tangents.
No, but I think these are stories we need to hear.
Yeah.
Because like with anything, until you know someone that's dealt with these things and hear those stories and hear how much it hurts.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to people.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm with this going on right now and hearing some of my friends. It's interesting. I've realized now who are really considered friends and who aren't with this, where I have people saying, this is being blown out of proportion. Someone was like saying, he's like, this, you think all white people are bad? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't think all white people are bad. Well, you think all police are bad? I'm like, no, not all police are bad, because my cousin was an officer, and he, to the point where he was a bodyguard for the prime minister. That's how high of a level officer he is. So,
yeah.
I have high regard for police. But he's like, oh yeah, well, you think all white people are bad? I'm like, no, I don't. I think there's a lot of people out there right now who's looking bad and are bad representatives.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, when we say systemic and it's blaming, it's the whole society. It's the culture and the society has manipulated not only, and that's the thing, where people are saying, it's white privilege, blah, blah, blah. It's manipulated everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Because, growing up in the 70s and 80s, I'm dating how old I am, but in the 70s and 80s, what heroes did we have on TV? Did I have on TV? You know, one of my favorite shows was Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So
generally and everything.
Yeah, and you know what? We didn't clue into the fact that there's anytime there was a black guy that was on there, that was the bad guy. You know, the ominous music was played. You know, almost every TV show, the black guys were the bad criminals or the ominous guys. So, you know, if there was a gang leader, like a mob kingpin, he had the black guys who were the dumb idiots who would just go do the work for him. Yeah. Right? We were just seen as the big dumb guys who had no clue. And those were our representatives. And that's what society. I remember. Here I go again. I had a girlfriend. Sorry, Diane. I had a girlfriend who we were dating at the time, and I went to her house, and her grandmother, European lady, came in, and I was there, and she walked in, and apparently, like she used to always do cleaning for them and all that stuff at her parents' house. She walked in, saw me, and I'm like, "Hello, how's it going?" And she didn't say a word, walked back out, and refused to come back there until I left, because she thought that I would either rape her, kill her, get her pregnant, and
this is her grandma.
This is her grandmother. Yeah, and this is just because what's shown on TV. That's what TV shows, right? And TV shows, you know, the black guys are, you know, if you watch pretty much a good chunk of the crimes that's shown on TV, it's, you know, black guys doing some random criminal thing. You know, you watch Cops, which is now, I believe, taken off the air now because a good chunk of it is, you know, black guys doing something. And yes, there are other people out there, and I'm not saying there aren't, but the truth is that there's a lot of it put out and focused on black people, or, you know, people of minorities. Stereotypes out there. You know, you're Chinese or you're Asian, you're great with math, and you're a martial artist. Yeah, that's it. And you know ancient secrets of the world, right? And then, you know, and we can go on and on. You know, like I said, black people, you're playing basketball, all that stuff, great athletes, and it is like that's the system. The system has made it that we look at our society that way, or look at our cultures that way, and people have just got to understand that it's not that way. And you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. It was really hard growing up and not thinking that way. I lived in Toronto. Like I said, I lived in Toronto with my mom in this place called Brampton, which is in the outskirts. So you might as well say it's Toronto. But anyway, and if I hadn't left and lived with my father, I probably would be in jail. I probably would have been, because I remember I was in grade 8 or 9, and 7 or 8, and we stole a car, took it from Brampton, and drove it all the way to Yorkdale. And if anybody knows, that's pretty much driving from Okotoks all the way out to Airdrie. Yeah. Just for the sake of it, and you're thinking it's fun, and and I probably would be there right now. I've, looking at some of my friends now, talking back to some of them when I went back home to Toronto, and hearing them, such and such is in jail, such and such is, strung up on drugs or such. That could have been me. Yeah.
Well, and you have to, when people don't understand the concept of systematic racism, one, you have a system that has chosen not to trust black men. You have everyone in the community with false ideas and impressions of who you are. So we've been trained from a young age to see you in a certain light. And then because you don't get the same opportunities, you don't get the same jobs, you don't get the, and so on, it puts people in a position where they don't have as many choices. Yeah. And they have to turn, they get pushed into turning to, other methods to find income or to...
just to live.
And if people can't see that and understand that, they don't get the big picture. No. Like I know growing up, in my home, like my grandfather, He's a nice, kind man, but he was racist. Like, he said nigger, he said chink, he called, like every other culture, he had that name for them.
Yeah.
And he had it doesn't matter if you're Polish, anyone but white Canadian was lazy and everything else because, we're better because we were born here, and we're white. And, the false narrative that I was taught as a young child is that, well, the reason Black communities have so many problems is because, it's the families breaking down and all these bad dads that are, abandoning their families or, drug dealers going off to jail or all this bullshit that isn't the reality, but what the reality is that our system chooses to punish, whether it's First Nations or Black people or whatever, at a much higher rate than we do white people. White people get away with shit all the time.
Yep.
Like, I don't know if you saw this video the other day. It was a frat house in a community in the United States, and there's like 20 guys in the frat house. Yeah. Cops show up and see it, and they're like, "Hey guys, you got too many people in the house. Yeah. You need to, send some people home." And so the guy that said he was the, on the lease in the house, the cops searched his name, and he tested positive with COVID like 2 days before. And the cop is like, "Dude, are you serious? Like, he goes, but I'm at home. I'm in quarantine. It's all okay." And the cop's like, "You can't have people in your home, But there is like one of the best examples of white privilege right there.
Oh, yeah.
Because if that was a house full of Black guys,
oh, yeah, that'd be trouble.
Half of them would have been arrested.
Yep.
And if they found out one of them had COVID, oh my goodness. Yeah. Like the stuff that we're seeing, where a white man can show up with, a 17-year-old with an AR-15 and the cops are giving him water and thanking him for being there, and he shoots 2 people and nothing. Yeah. Or what's I can't remember the one kid's name that blew up that went in and shot up that church of Black people. And what did the police do? Well, they waited calmly until he was done, arrested him, took him to like Carl's Jr. or something for burgers as they took him to jail. Whereas if that was a Black kid, he would have been shot on the spot. Yeah. And people can't, I don't know why people choose not to see this disparity and this difference. Well, like, what do you think it is?
Well, a lot of it, I think, too, and I got caught in that too, is it doesn't happen here. Since it doesn't happen here, right? It doesn't happen here, so it's not that bad. Not that it's not that bad. It's just, it doesn't happen here, so therefore, that's those type of people, and not thinking that it's everywhere, right? We are, like I said before, we're programmed to think that way. Yeah. And it's through everything. I find myself becoming that old man now when it comes to music, in the sense of, when I grew up, rap music was starting to be getting big in the 80s, right, in the 90s. And we first had, we had the Fresh Prince rap and all the hip hop, like the kind of funny words, just being fun, having a good time. And then there was conscious rap, which is like if anybody knows anything, like Tribe Called Quest, and they talk about being pro-Black and trying to stand up for yourselves and stuff like that. And that was starting to gain a little bit of popularity. But then, lo and behold, what's the most popular rap you can think
Gangster rap.
Exactly. Right?
But I remember as a kid, like the rap I loved was like My So Fresh, Public Enemy, all these ones where like I loved the political rap as a kid. Because I saw injustice, and these guys are talking about it. They're not just this poppy shit. Yeah. They're like, this is a real thing and we need to talk about it and do something about it. And I think rap's coming back to that.
You know what? Honestly, I wish it was. I'm not going to lie to you. I've become that old man where I don't listen to it. This music today is so garbage time. But still the stuff that's popularized is I got my gat, I got my gun, and I'm selling this much drugs. I'm selling that much drugs. And yeah, the there is still the political rap that's out there. The problem is that the system is still pushing out the, if it's not the gangster rapper shooting and whatever it is, it's that, and everybody's gonna probably hate me for it, but the Drakes and the other stuff where it's, I got my money and I got my girls. The videos are just these guys walk around with these beautiful women. I'm saying it not in the sense of beauty as in the way their looks, but beautiful women inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you don't know anything about them, but all they're wearing, you only judge them by them wearing scantily clad clothing.
Yeah.
And, again, walking around drinking their Cristal. I'm dating myself because I don't know if it's Cristal. It's the drink of choice now. But, the Cristal and the weed and the scissor, is it the scissor, whatever that stuff is now, and popularizing that. And that's what the problem is now, that's being seen. And so black kids today are still seeing that as success. That is the goal to achieve.
But that's all part of the plan, because originally, rap was so indie that they had to release their own stuff, their own tapes, their own music labels, and then as it became like popular enough that the white record labels saw, hey, we can make some money off this, but we can also push our agenda and show in the world what we think black men really are. Yep. And so they signed, and I'm sure there was guys sitting in, come on, we want to hear about how tough and rough you are. That's what people want. Yep. I'm sure there's some guy behind a closed door pushing this agenda of we want more gangster rap. Because to them, they want to keep that image out that that's what a black man is.
That's what it's true. It's the image of what they want. They want black kids to aspire to. It's one of those things like that. A lot of people say is that, the heroes that we have are, pardon me, the only heroes that we have are athletes, celebrities, and that's pretty much it. Right? Mm-hmm. There's no academic idols to look up to. There are.
They're there. They just don't share it.
They don't push it out, right? So it's the same thing. Like when it comes to music, it's the you want to be like the. I'm only using these names because these are the only things that can come to my head. Like the old school NWAs. The Two Live. Wow, I don't think these kids even know who Two Live Crew is.
Yeah, Two Live Crew is awesome.
but like Two Live Crew and the stuff that they push out today, where it's just the guys who are just pushing about money and pushing about the drugs and not looking about being positive right? And being proud of who you are. And it's funny that there are some people out there it's been pretty cool that where they stand in certain aspects, like NERD nerd. So Pharrell, right? Pharrell, I laugh. I look at him positively for the fact that he was a quote unquote band geek. A mixed, so black. I always say black because a good chunk of people, if you're mixed, you're still considered black for some reason. Yeah. But he's a black man, but he was a band geek and he did well. Now, granted, again, it's still music and it's still the entertainment industry and all that stuff, but he was at least something other than the gangster, the athlete.
He was making his own sound and pushing his own thing rather than being used as a puppet. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just interesting that when you see that we have very little out there for us. Yeah. I got the only people I knew growing up was Martin Luther King. Hey, Martin Luther King. Yeah, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. That's it.
Yeah. So going through all of this from a young child all the way up to now, does it did you suffer from depression? Does it cause anxiety being in situations like,
Oh yeah.
What did it do for you?
I do. People still don't believe it when I do. So I'll tell some people sometimes I do suffer from depression. I have very, very high social anxiety. I don't do. A lot of times when I'm in crowds and I'm that happy. That's sometimes I put out that happy-go-lucky guy, but sometimes I'm just in my mind. I'm just like I just want to hide. I just want to be somewhere where I don't have to deal with all those people. But if I keep smiling and laughing and or making people laugh, then A, people will like me, and B, people won't see me being the guy who's totally terrified right now. But the depression, for sure. I still have days where I think about things even from way back when I was a kid to now, of the problems I faced, and situations I see. I've been in situations I see and how much it hurts. I try. I can say it. Like I try not to lose my crap. Is the best way I can say it. Lose my shit. Shouldn't be cursing, but yeah.
Ah, shit. Say it.
I try not to lose my shit, but it's hard. It's hard not to sit there and I just want to be seen as a normal guy. I just want to be seen as, okay, yes, I'm black, and yes, I want you to see that I want to see you see that I'm black, but I want you to see that I'm normal. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not, I'm not the, as I jokingly say to people, I'm not the translator for all black culture.
Yeah.
The amount of times, hey, what do they mean when they say that? I don't know. The amount of times, it's true. Like, yeah, so Glenn, what does make up a word, hippy dippy dippy mean? I live in the same place as you do. Where am I coming from?
Yeah, exactly.
Or or just the fact that people still don't grasp the. I love metal. I like metal.
Yeah.
Metal music, and it's people surprised when I say that. Or I like certain things that shouldn't be liked, right, as a black man. And to go back to your point of depression, it's been hard. There's a lot of days where I sit quietly, even to my family. I'm a fairly quiet person to the point where I push up my persona so much sometimes, and when I come home, I'm completely drained. And I have nothing left, even for my kids and my wife. Yeah. And so it's hard. There's days I want to just hang out with my kids, and I am so drained mentally and emotionally from just trying to smile and trying to keep my head up, because it's hard after a while. People don't get it, that it's day after day, and people see this stuff going on right now with the Black Lives Matter and everything else that's going on out there, and think, okay, well, that's pretty bad. And what people don't understand is that might be just a glimpse. But I'm 46 years old, and I've been.
And I'll tell you, he looks like he's 23.
Yeah, until the grays show up. But I've been living this every day. I'm not gonna lie to you, almost every day of my life, for 46 years, with me going. When I say that, every day of me being out in public, I experience something. Yeah. Something. If it's, dirty looks getting looked at from people walking on the street, making the sly comments coming from behind my back, and people say, oh no, it's there's no such thing as positive racism or positive prejudice. Let's get this straight. When people say, yeah, you're black, so you must be fast. No, that's not a good thing to say. You're black and you must be an awesome dancer. That's not something that's positive. It's just as stressful, just as. And
again, people choosing not to get to know you, but just put a label on you.
Yep, that's it. People don't bother trying to. People don't bother to try and know who I am. Hey Glenn, how's it going? You don't hear that often.
The thing is, so. Our mental health, whether it's depression or anxiety, all of these feelings stem from two main things. One, not being able to accept ourselves and embrace who we are. And the other is feeling accepted and a part of a community. And, a white person that suffers from mental health issues, a lot of it is accepting who they are and being okay with who they are. It's a hell of a lot easier for them to fit into their communities and be accepted, and their trauma, the trauma from our mental health issues are, things that happen in the moment or things that often happen in the past and are very heavy and we hold on to it. But I don't think we understand, as the white community, what it's like to suffer that trauma every day.
Yeah. You know, like you're saying the thing about getting to understand, accept who you are. For like the longest while, I used to drink a lot. I was, you know, I used to hide under the guise of, you know, being from Northern Ontario, which apparently is one of those things where they say we all know how to drink. But I drank a lot, and it was just because, you know, reflecting on it now, I drank because I was trying to fit in with the crew, so I with my teammates, and the people around me. So I drank because that way I can be that social black guy that everybody likes, and that people can see me as that funny guy. But I drank also because, you know, I wasn't happy with myself because I was the quote unquote sellout in that way, right? I was being that the Uncle Tom, so to speak, you know. Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, you guys can call me. You can call me whatever you want. You know, you want to say that word, N-word, go ahead, feel free. You know, I'm not going to say anything. It's not a bad word. Yeah, don't worry about it. Or, you know, trying to downplay any racial issues that happened, and not standing up, right? Being afraid. Because when you do stand up, that was one of the things that used to drive me insane. If I ever did stand up, I was blowing it out of proportion. Or maybe I just thought of it wrong, and maybe I did bring it on myself. I remember high school, there was my shoes got stolen, and I found my ball shoes, basketball shoes, and there was a note in my locker. Nigger was left in the word nigger was left in my locker. So I brought this to my vice principal, and he pretty much said it was, phrase it as my fault because I was that loudmouth guy because I was trying to fit in, and that loudmouth guy rubbed people the wrong way, certain ways, and so I deserved it. It was my fault, and you know, I downplayed it after that. Maybe I second guessed myself. I started second guessing, like maybe it was my fault. Maybe because I deserved to be called that. I deserved to have my shoes stolen, and not thinking that.
How fucked up is that?
Exactly. And so that was what my life was, a lot of, you know, thinking, maybe I do deserve it. Maybe I'm downplaying. Oh, they shouldn't be saying it. You know what, they say it, but you know, they probably didn't mean it. They're saying it in love, and it's one of the things. If I want to be accepted by people, and I should be able to. You know, people were saying, "Oh, it's like the famous thing. Oh, it's just a word," and it's, you know, boys will be boys when you're saying jokes, and people don't understand that word it's not just a word. You got to understand and think that growing up, not even growing up, so my past, people growing up my past, we were seen as less than a dog. And we're talking not dogs the way we treat dogs now.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Back in the day where they were put on a chain in the backyard and left.
Yeah, the dogs were treated better than we were, right? Where you know, you're stuck in a shack of 20, 30. I'm understating this. A shack of 20, 30 people, and you're getting a handful of food. You got a pair of pants if you're lucky, and you're in the field working from day and night, and whipped and treated like garbage. And that word is still being used. There are other words that people have used in the world, but people there's there are other words being used in the world now, but the weight of it is not there. It's not used as much. People, you don't hear you don't hear someone using the K word for someone who's Jewish. You don't, you know what I mean? You don't hear those words being used because people have understood and stopped using it. But people insist on using the N-word. I try and say the N-word, and there's days when I do end up saying it myself, but it just out of more anger than anything else. But the people use these words, the N-word, and still think that there's value behind it. And it's not as much as I say, people say, well, you know, you're putting value behind it. For you to use it, that means you have that value behind it too.
Yeah, you know enough.
Yeah.
That this hurts, but you still choose to use it.
Yeah.
You know, and just because there isn't a word that you're offended by to describe you doesn't mean that still doesn't hurt.
Oh yeah, like I hear it all the time. Well, you know, people call me honky all the time. That does not.
Who the hell calls anyone a honky?
But you know what I mean? It's the thing. It's a thing of people are like, that has zero weight. You know what I mean? You weren't treated like garbage with that name. It's just in a word. It's just a name. Everyone's just calling you an idiot or an asshole. It's the same thing. But that word, there's weight behind it. There's meaning behind it. You know, it's like saying using the Nazi, right? There's weight behind that name. No matter what you say, there is always weight behind that name. I remember I was having an argument with someone about someone who it was a coworker, and we were talking about a coworker at work, and he's saying he hates all Muslim people. All Muslim people are terrorists. Blah blah blah. The stereotypical thing. And I pretty much asked him. I said, "You're German, right?" He said, "Yeah." So that means you're a Nazi. No, I'm not a Nazi. That's ridiculous. Why are you calling me that? But he's Muslim. Why is he a
terrorist?
Yeah, why is he a terrorist? Well, do you not see the same? Do you not see the same thing? Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying here. And people understand the weight behind certain words, right? And like I said, it was going back just that there's a lot of weight behind that N word, and people have yet to understand that.
Yeah. So, like we talked a little bit earlier about some of the, amazing kind of things you guys do as a family.
Yeah.
Is that some of the things that you do to help you kind of find balance through all this and help let go of some of these feelings? Like, what do you do for yourself? Because I can imagine, like you said, by the time you get home, you're so drained.
Yeah.
What do you do to help yourself heal every day from this?
I am blessed with a wonderful wife and 3 beautiful kids, especially 2 beautiful boys. Well, my daughter's beautiful, but she's only 2, so she hasn't been through it for the whole entire time. But so, don't get me wrong, people. I love my daughter very much, but I was blessed with those guys. Like there's days I've come home and I just sit down and Keegan will come and give me a hug, or just a hug from Diane or anything like that helps me get by. It's that's one of the only ways I can get through it, because it's to this day still I find it hard to get by. I play video games. I play video games to try and get myself. I don't drink nearly as much anymore. Because of that, because it just buries it, and I still have stuff to deal with. It's funny, like even when you asked me to do this, things kept on popping back in my head. It's almost like scar tissue where it's buried and you completely forget about it, and then all of a sudden these hidden memories start popping up, and so I know I have work to do. Between talking to my sister, I have a sister in Ontario who she hears me out sometimes, and talking to Diane. Diane is the one person I talk to. She's been my rock this entire time. She's heard some weird stuff about me, that's for sure. When in the sense of the things I've had to deal with. So I now have to deal with it myself. So I try and talk. It's funny, weird that I'd say I talk to myself about it. Because until you hear it, I literally do talk to myself. It's the weirdest thing in the world, because
it's not weird.
A grown man talking, because you see, everybody says, yeah, I talk to myself in my head. It's not the same. Have a conversation with yourself out loud sometimes, and you'll see the things you can actually figure out just by talking to yourself.
Yeah. I've got 3 sons that do it.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, I tell them, good. If it's helping you work it out, there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't do it in public.
What's the thing? Diane, when I first started talking to myself, Diane thought it was, because I've always always done it because when I played sports, I'm very I'm very competitive. When I did play, I was very good at what I did, but I was very hard on myself, and so I always talked to myself when I played sports. Yeah. So I used to drive Diane nuts, because I'd be still talking to myself about the most random things when I'm at home. Oh, geez, I lost these keys again. What? I lost the keys. oh, you talking to me? No, I'm just talking to myself about the keys.
Yeah.
And it would drive her insane. I'm like, I'm sorry, beautiful. I didn't mean to do it. Just telling her now. I'm sorry. That's just the way I am. But yeah, talking to myself is one of those things. Like I said, I do play video games. And it's not, granted, I love playing video games, but I play late at night because I'm a night owl. And most of my thinking comes around that time. Like 11, 12 o'clock at night is when my brain's going off and I'm thinking about stuff. So, and pretty much doing my kind of some of my healing at that point. It's not gonna lie, it takes a bit. It's gonna take a bit. I know it is. But it's one of the only ways right now I know of trying to heal. My sister's trying to get me to go and talk to people, and you know what? That is as a programmed man, and I'll say that in that sense, we are programmed to not go to others.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying now. I'm putting it out there that I am trying to do it with others, but it's kind of hard here in Okotoks where, I remember when I first moved here. This is just on a joke way. It's the reason why I say I can't talk to people out here is that when I first moved here, I remember walking down the street and there's a couple walking a dog, and the dog actually gave me a double take.
Even the dog's like, that's the first black man in town. What's going on?
That's what it was. It was the dog's like, what? So it's hard to find people to talk to and relate with us, right? Mm-hmm. So I talked to Diane, and I know she's having trouble relating. She's been a good ear. In my family, like my mom, my dad, my dad's the very old school, stereotypical, I don't say shit, and you ain't going to hear shit with it for me, right? So I don't talk with them about it because it's been sugar-coated. And my mom has been more of the, all white people sometimes, well, she's not that as much now, but she used to be like, all white people is a bad thing, and she doesn't hear what's going on, and so having to talk to her is a little bit hard. So yeah, I just try to deal with it myself. I wish there were more people out here. It's one thing I would like for Okotoks, I guess, I was thinking about the other day, is like some sort of like a multicultural society. I did something like that when I was way back home. Like was part of one way back in the day where it's all cultures, right? And we all sit and talk, and we, because we all go through stuff, right? And there's people who, there's black, white, European. When I say white and European, there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
When I say European, I'm thinking the Ukraines and the Russias and that type of area.
Yeah.
Right? And it'd be nice to have a culture, something like that here in Okotoks.
Well, I know, like, I grew up in Northeast Calgary, in like Marlborough, Pembroke area. And, I always joke with my kids saying I grew up in the hood. Because, and it's still, the Northeast is still very multicultural.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for my kids in a way that I raised them here in Okotoks because it is so white that they didn't have those same experiences I had with other cultures.
Yeah.
Like I had, through junior high and elementary and high school, 3 of my best friends were black kids. I had Lebanese friends. Yeah. I had Asian and Pakistani, and these were my friends. And in my community, the majority were white, but it was only like a 2/3 majority. And these kids were like first generation from all over the world. And so when I went over to their houses, you got to try Lebanese food and, try East Indian food and, the different just experiences and languages and all that. And although there was still a lot of racism back then, as a child, you're exposed to those things and you realize we're all the same. Yeah. And, I wish we had a lot more of that here in Okotoks. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's not, I don't know, it's not getting much better, is it?
No. Like when you're saying that, it's true. There's racism. Like when you're growing up, with the different cultures. And yeah, there was racism still there, but you as a child grew up seeing that it's not true in the sense of, so you grew up in the North, when I say the North, like North Calgary, right? And your parents are saying, you know, all these Lebanese people are all, you know, they're all assholes. I've seen Billy. I'm just fake news. I've seen Billy, and he's not an asshole. His parents are an asshole, so I know they're not.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I've seen my East Indian friend, and I know they're not. Right? So you're able to dispel or shut down what your parents are saying or what you're being taught. Here in Okotoks, you can't.
No.
Right? You know, it's one of those things where I've had people come up to me and say, you know, you talk very different. You don't talk black. I'm like,
You talk like a white man.
yeah. I'm like, I grew up. I was born
You don't
in Ottawa.
sound black.
I was born in Ottawa. I was, you know, the only time, honestly, I do have that. If anybody knows what it means, it's I guess the Bacardi slang. We call it Bacardi slang, but it's called Bacardi slang, where it's a broken West Indian accent where you're borrowing from every different culture. Like, you know, you say, "Hey, y'all, Bridget, what you see?" Right, and you're talking like if you're from Jamaica, but or you're talking like if you're from Trinidad and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's just because that's where I grew up. When I grew up in Toronto, that's where it was. But when I moved back to Toronto, to Sudbury, right? Like I said, I was the only white person or only black person in my grade. Well, I'm not going to end up speaking a different way just because
You want to fit in.
Yeah,
So you change the way you speak.
Well, I speak the way speak the way everybody is around me.
Yeah.
So you grew up. You speak. If everybody's speaking like this, of course I'm going to speak like that. I'm not going to be the only person speaking like. You grew up with your influence. If I grew up in England, of course I'd have a British accent.
You develop an accent over time, yeah.
So,
look up Madonna.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, you know, and like even your boys, you know, growing up here in Okotoks, they've experienced racism at school.
Yes, yeah. Twice with Jalen. In particular, Jalen was in, the first time was he wanted to go to the washroom and some kid wouldn't let him in, saying that, you know, this is, you know, a white only bathroom and no black kids are allowed.
How the fuck does a kid in elementary school even have that concept of white only bathroom?
Well,
where do they learn that from?
Obviously that's the parents, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted your story.
No, because it's kind of one of those things. It's like almost like a two-part. It's like a precursor to this part here. But I remember. So I'll say with Jalen's. The part of the Jalen thing was that some kids a couple of years later, some kids were telling black jokes at his lunch table, and he, you know, Jalen's like, "That's not funny." Now, if you meet my kids do not really look mixed black. They look more like they're Italian. Spanish,
but they're curly hair.
Yeah, they look more Spanish, Latin, than anything else besides. If they're walking with me, then you know they mix black. If they're just walking with Diane, it's like, oh yeah, she's probably dating. It was
and for those listening and don't know your wife, you know, she's this tall, slender, beautiful redhead.
Yep.
So you mix that redhead with that white redhead skin. Yeah. They're a unique kids.
Yeah, it's like we're saying. Irish redhead, so we're saying So the kids were saying jokes, and Jalen's like, "Well, no, my dad's black," because the kid was saying, "Well, that shouldn't bother you. You're not black. No, my dad's black." And we brought it up to this principal, and a whole bunch of stuff happened after that. But I was saying, sorry, what I meant to say with the thing we were saying about where do you learn that from?
Yeah.
I remember one time we were in North Bay, Ontario, which is not a really big town. I was in college, coming there for a volleyball tournament. Or was it basketball? I can't remember right now. It's so long ago. But we were there for a tournament. This was in university. College. Jeez. Getting old. Can't remember the things. But anyway, we were at Wendy's. And this kid comes up and points at, this is the part I remember, is that this kid points up to me, "Look, mommy, a nigger." And the way he said it, it wasn't.
So familiar.
He said it, the way he said it was more like he was looking at Mickey Mouse at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And, you know, pointing up and, "Oh, look, a nigger." And I'm with three other guys, two other guys on the black on the team. And we're all, 6 6 feet, above 6 feet,
yeah.
decent size, and she's looking at us and he learned that from his father, and I don't know where he shouldn't have been learning that in the first place, right? But
yeah.
That's when you're saying, where these kids learn it from. It's obviously from their family. It's just sad to hear that this is something that age they're learning.
Yeah. I saw a post on Instagram the other day, and it was this lady sharing a story that she experienced in the store. It didn't happen to her, but she's in tears telling the story. And so she's in the aisle at the grocery store, and this little boy says to his mom, because there's this big black guy in the aisle at the grocery store, says, "Mom, look at that man. I can't remember if the kid said he's black or he's different." And his mom goes, "Yeah, isn't it beautiful that we could all have such variety and so much, like, you'd have different skin?"
Yep.
And he's like, "Yeah, Mom, it's beautiful." And she goes, "Yeah, we can be brown or black or, any shade, and we're all the same and we're all one." And the lady was saying, the guy is just like grinning, because he's seeing hearing this positive response. And then the boy goes, "Yeah, and boys can like boys and girls can like girls." And the mom's like, "Yeah, you're right. Isn't it beautiful?" Yeah. And this big man, just this big smile on his face. And, this woman hearing that's what we need to do with our kids. Exactly. And everyone was touched, by this experience. Yeah,
like we say that with our kids. We tell the kids, like Jalen and Keegan have learn about the whole
LGBTQ. Yeah,
I wasn't trying to say that.
We're doing our best.
Yeah, but they've learned about the whole community since they were young. In fact, I remember Jalen getting in trouble for something, or a girl, because he's asked. I think he was like grade 1 or grade 2 at the time, and so he'd asked, how kids get adopted, and he'd pieced together. We were talking about a story about 2 men adopting a little baby, and so what he heard was, if I marry a man, I can save a baby, because he even at that age was seeing babies being alone as a bad thing. So if I could save a baby. Needless to say, some girl was telling him that he can't do it because it's not wrong, and he was pretty adamant about it, and he was pretty mad. He got pretty mad about it, and it was pretty cool, because the other thing too is that his aunt had just come out just recently before that, and so I told him, and we were saying we're so proud of her for coming out and blah blah, and he heard that we're proud, so he understood that he should be proud, and so when he heard someone saying you can't do that and it's wrong, he's a very he's very big on the moral police. Yeah,
he's a justice warrior.
Oh yeah, especially when it comes to equality. Someone told me. I can't remember who told me, but it was a story. Like his first day of school in kindergarten was making sure that everybody had someone to play with.
Yeah.
In class, in the park. And so that's the type of kid he is, and that's the same thing as with his brother. It's the same way. Everybody has to have someone, and everybody's equal. They don't see, they don't care if you're black, white, pink, purple. Yeah. If you're straight, they don't care. As long as you're human and breathing, they're fine with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Glenn, what can our community do for you? What does you and your family need? Because it just eats me up inside, and I feel terrible with this idea that, your day is so difficult, just emotionally dealing with all of this. When you come home, you're so drained. You don't have that same energy and passion for your kids. What can we do to make you, we know these things, but will you, if you don't mind taking some time, just share what do you think we as a community can do to show more acceptance and love and respect?
Well, wow,
that's a big question to put on your plate to solve all our problems.
That's a huge question. You know what? Honestly,
what has worked for you? What has made you feel better in the past?
It started with it starts with even something simple as just talking and smiling and saying hi. I don't know if anybody knows, been to Walmart. There's a greeter there. He's like one of my favorite people in the entire planet, Mr. Alfred. If anybody's ever met him, they know little small guy. When I first moved here, I was walking at Walmart, and I was still insecure because, like I said, it's changed. Like I'm not gonna say the picture of the colorscape of Okotoks has changed a bit compared to even when I moved here 14 years ago. And Alfred just talked to me randomly, and he was, "Hey, Dad," and he's talking to me about something about because he said saying I was going to Mexico, and he's asking me to, if I ever go to Mexico, if I see this blanket, if it's possible to bring it back up for him. And I don't know this guy from anything.
Yeah.
But he's talking, and ever since then, he has talked to me, smiled with my boys, and hasn't acts and it sees me as me.
Yeah.
Right. There's a number of people in this community right now who see me as me. They talk to me as a normal human being. There's no discomfort because it's funny because you could see some people who say, "I don't see color," which honestly, that's not the right thing to say. When you say you don't see color, you do see color because I'm here. You can't see it. I'm not invisible.
Well, and if you don't see it, you don't see the problem.
Yeah, you don't see the problem. You don't see that I'm an individual. I'm a certain person. But like I was saying that there's a lot of people out there who do just see me for being Glenn, right? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the big things about this community is that it'd be nice to have that. What I feel Okotoks needs is not only for Black people, but in general, like I was just saying earlier, it was like a multicultural society, multicultural awareness, because there are other people out here. You got to understand that, when people, my favorite thing always is, go back to your country. Or go back where you came from. I'm like, well, I was born in Ottawa, but but you gotta understand, we on this entire country, we're all not from here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you gotta understand that
the only people that can say this is the First Nations.
Yes, exactly. So
and they did, and we didn't listen.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Right? So we have to understand that we're not all from here. Now, when I say we, I'm not saying we as in Black people in West Indian. I'm saying we as in Okotoks. Unless, like you said, unless you're First Nation, you're not from here.
Yeah, we're all immigrants if we're not First Nation.
So we should be able to talk with others. And that's why like a multicultural society or a multicultural gathering where we get to see what it's okay to be different. It's to see and understand, like when we had, it was a couple of years ago, one of the things that was going on in Okotoks, I can't remember which one it was, but there was people out there with understanding. I keep getting it mixed up. Is it Muslim faith, right? Mm-hmm. And people, there were people out there and explaining, right? Just simple pamphlets trying to understand. Yeah. And we need stuff like that where, even if it's like a walk down Okotoks and it's a multicultural day where people say, you know what, and it's not only just. Like I said, it's not only Afro-Caribbean or because there's multiple, right? There's African, there's Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Canadian, Afro-North American, and there's East Indian, and there's West Indian, there's Latin, and there's so many different cultures out there that's living here in Okotoks and in Calgary that we should be having some sort of thing, that where we all get to understand and see people as individuals.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is that for me, I would love to have people just sit there and say, hey, and see you as you. Yeah. See, as my wife would say, see your light. Right? I understand your light. That's what you explain it.
It's interesting. Like we, in the schools, we have the GSAs, the Gay Straight Alliance. So it's about, one, how can we as, provide that safe place for gay, lesbian, transgendered students within the school. Yeah. And those that want to support them and be there for them, we have this organization. It's almost like we need a, MCA, like a multicultural alliance in this, within our communities and schools, where it's run and directed by multicultural people, but those that aren't in the community, just like, straight people are supporting, gay and lesbian and transgender kids. Why can't we have an organization like that where it's about, where people of multicultures can inform and educate and show us that we're all just trying to get by. We're all the same. That would be beautiful to have those within schools and in our community.
Well, I remember, was it when it's the hard part of it is just the powers that be. That's where our big roadblock is. When we were with the issue with Jalen the second time around, we were really wanted to talk about it because it's 2 strikes. It's not even 3 strikes. This is 2 strikes you're out type of thing, right? The first time we were, didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to be, like I said, the angry black man who lost his cool. So we went and talked to him the second time around, and I explained to him to the principal, saying that, it was like he was asking, I don't know, what can we do? I'm like, we're not upset, but what we believe and what would be great is to teach these kids and have them understand this. I'm telling them personally, I'm saying I've ran multiple multicultural projects, camps, you name it, I've done it. I've been part of multiple societies since I was in high school. And I said, I'm willing to stay at my time and I'm willing to help, have a multicultural day. And he looked at me dumbfounded, like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. How would I go about doing it?
Oh my goodness! They do it for everything. I'm like, you do DARE, but what you do it for drugs? You do it for sex, and they have those things at the schools for how to teach your kids to be safe on the internet. Like, they do this for everything. Yep. Why can't they do it about racism?
Yeah, but the way he looked at me, I had to laugh at it, the way he said it, because it's pretty much. He's like, I don't know how we'll teach these kids about that. Well, I've been from a multicultural society. I know how to do all these things. I've done multicultural projects. Yeah, I really don't know how I'm going to do it.
I'm telling you, I'll do it. And he's not listening to you still. You're not even there.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
So that's one of the things, like everybody says, it's one of the big things I keep hearing from people all the time is with this stuff and the racial issues and the racial tension coming on from well, one, it's only happening in the States. That's not true. 2, that it's this generation and it'll go away. I'm telling you now, that is a pipe dream. If you want to change, you have to change it. Not wait for other people to change it. Mm-hmm. You have to change it. Yeah. And it starts from school. No matter what, kids learn everything from not only your parent, like not only from the kids, from your parents, but from other kids. Yeah. So if I have kids at school, at the same school as you do, and I'm teaching my kids that everybody's kind and everybody's supposed to be positive, and Billy comes hanging out in my house, you'll see, right, that it's that everybody's kind and culture. Everybody's being kind. They want to be friends with I'm not using. Won't say Jalen. We'll say Jalen. They see that, okay, well, Jalen's kind to everybody. Maybe I should be kind to everybody, right? And that's where it goes. It's a trickle-down effect in the sense of you as a parent should be teaching your kids this. Your kids end up teaching this to their friends, and their friends end up teaching to other people, right? And that stays. The thing is right now is that we are waiting for other people to try and change it.
Well, for instance, think about, when we were kids, that's about when they started bringing sex education into the schools, right? For decades, it was that's something that should be dealt with in the homes, because of religion and all this other bullshit. They wouldn't talk about these things in school. Yep. And what was happening? What were the pregnancy rates when we were in school? Yep. Like teen pregnancies. It was a big problem. So because it wasn't being done in homes, because parents don't talk to the kids about sex, and if you're religious, it's just no. Yeah. It's not, okay, if you're going to do this, this is how you do it so you don't make a baby.
Mom won't have sex. Abstain.
Yeah.
Think about abstain.
Yeah. And so we realized that, parents aren't doing it. It's not working out. We need to do it in the schools, and we need to do it right. And so we brought it in, and it's made a huge difference in the last 30 years. Teen pregnancy rates are way down. Yep. So it worked. And whatever it is, we can't rely, I'm sorry, you can't rely on the families to teach these things that are community-based.
Yeah.
And this is a community problem. It's not a home problem. Like, just like domestic violence.
Yeah.
If it's not being taught at the school that it's a bad thing, then it's acceptable at home and nothing's said.
Yeah.
And they keep it quiet and it continues to happen. We as a community need to decide what makes our community better and equal and supportive and loving. And those have to be taught in schools. Like, there's many cultures like Japan. The first 3 years of school in Japan is all about how to be a good member of the community. There's no testing. There's not that. They spend the first 3 years of education teaching these little kids how to be respectful and how to, work within a community and just, do those things. And again, look at how they are as a community. They're not arguing about masks because they know it benefits everyone in the community. So we as a community need to pull our heads out and realize that, like just as we're doing like the DARE and sex ed and, all these other things, like we need to have it in the curriculum about what we've done to the natives and First Nations here. We need to have, particularly in our curriculum, what the role of slavery and what we've done to systematic racism within our curriculum.
Yep. That's not even just in the history. It's just all aspects of it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so everybody knows. Okay, everybody's like, oh yeah, Three Musketeers. But a lot of people don't know that was actually written by a black man. Alexander Dumas is actually black, and nobody knew that. Yeah. Right. So we as a society have to, or with regards to education, we have to be able to bring to light all the contributions of everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
And I don't remember her name, but the programming that was written to get the Apollo mission home safely.
Yeah.
Written by a black woman.
Yep.
There is there are so many prolific black members of our community and our history that we don't talk about. We give credit to other people, when it was them that did it. And we've done this to women.
Yep.
We do it to, blacks and everyone. It's ridiculous.
Funniest thing, I'll tell you right now. Make it even so simple is that peanut butter sandwich is peanut butter.
Carver, Dr. Carver.
Yeah. People are like, well, really? Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah. But, street lights, stuff like that was all. But we, like I said, people aren't, no credit's given.
Yeah.
Right? It's just passed, swept under the rug, or given to somebody else.
Yeah. Because whites have to keep up the image of the superior race. So we can't celebrate those accomplishments that have benefited everyone.
Yeah. And when it comes to the whole thing of racial attention and racial issues, and then this is the part where people get up in arms, is like the whole thing when you say, okay, whites, right? People get up, well, you're saying all white people, but people have to understand it's the whites. I'll say like black people. I would say when there are negative things or certain things that black people are doing, I'm saying black people in general, right? Black people need to stand up for themselves, or black people need to do this. And it's not saying that there aren't people who are, right? It's the same thing with whites. As you're saying, white society has to be able to, give up some of that understanding. The one thing, I guess you say the word privilege, right? But the one thing when people got to understand with it, when people say white privilege and get up in arms about the word white privilege, and it's like, well, like everybody always sees on Facebook, it's, we're not saying white privilege means you had it easy and all that stuff. People, I would like to say, when it comes to white privilege, the word privilege, take that I look at the word privilege as an advantage, saying take advantage. So take that white privilege and that advantage to, bring to light that there's issues, to put forth or teach, right? Use that advantage to, that privilege to say something and make some sort of difference. Not just say, okay, well, I got a job because I'm white. No, don't leave that stuff. Forget about that. I don't care about that anymore. Well, I still do, but not as much. But I'm saying in the sense of you've got a privilege, you've got an opportunity, you have an advantage to be heard. Use it. Yeah. Well,
so within acupuncture and Chinese medicine, within our community, the first non-Asian practicing acupuncturists in North America were two black men.
Really?
Yep.
Didn't know.
And one of them in particular, he traveled with the Black Panther Party to China. And he wasn't a member of the Black Panthers, but he was their like medical liaison.
Yeah.
And they were invited to China, and they toured China for like 10 months. And got to see all these things and shown all these things, and they brought a lot of the community-minded ideas back to North America. Yeah. And they taught, this is back in the early 70s, and they taught, dozens of people how to do, and he actually created, it was a black man that created what we call the NADA protocol. And this, was later used and regulated later, but to treat for addictions and pain and stress. And so it's what we call battlefield acupuncture, was designed here in America by a black man. And so both of these men, were, because they're black, we don't remember their names, and that they're the ones that brought it. They, one of them, Dr. Shakur, okay, the stepfather of Tupac Shakur.
Seriously?
Yeah. He was jailed because of his involvement with the Black Panthers and all the things he was doing. And just because he was associated, he was in prison for years. And, these things where these people are doing everything they can to help their communities and make it better. And, and I just discovered this 2 weeks ago. This isn't something that he's even taught in our history of Chinese medicine, but, the thing that really brought it to attention and set the table for licensing and regulation here in Canada is because of two black men, and we think, if we could go through so many stories for so many things, there is someone there that did, a black person that did a huge thing for us. And again, like you said, these things need to be taught regularly so we all know. And one thing that I've learned over the years and experienced it myself, is once you know someone in that community and really get to know them, that's what starts you changing your heart. And myself, the getting to know, over the years, you know some gay people, but I remember the first one that I actually opened up and developed a friendship with, rather than just knowing, these acquaintances. And he was an amazing person. And so it started to change my heart and my perspective on that. And then, over the years, then I got to know more people, and my hardline Mormon stance on gay and lesbians and everything started to change. Yeah. And then, my best friend comes out gay. And then two of my sons. And, and I'm grateful for that, that I was, willing to finally break down my judgments and get to know him enough that I know, hey, he's still a person. He's still real. He's a good man. And it doesn't matter, what he does in the bedroom, and here we are, I think, again, people need to get to know someone, like I had friends growing up and I knew they were just like me, just struggling to get by, in this community. And I hope that, if people in our community, people listening to this podcast, Glenn's not easy to miss. So if you see him out there, I want you to say hello and, smile. And, if he's got his free hug shirt on, give him a hug. And, I hope just by listening to the story and getting to know you, it can soften someone's heart who's kind of on the fence. Because I don't think there's many like blatant racists in Okotoks, but I do think there's that like, that learned behavior and judgment that is some of it, and most of it may be, subconscious, but it's there. Yeah. And we can all let go of it.
Yeah. Like I call like the purse clutchers.
Yeah.
So like like when I used to work downtown, I used to work as an office manager downtown, and I'd be in my suit and tie, going to work, and I would still have women clutch their purse when I sit beside them, or get up and walk and move and leave.
Yeah.
Right. So
Or cross the street and walk on the other side of the street.
that time, or even just on the C train,
Yeah.
to get up and move. Right. So I call them, but they're not. They're the same people who would say they're not racist. They just don't understand, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's gonna be there's a lot of the I'll call them the purse clutchers, but they're not. They just don't understand. When you're saying, give me a hug, you feel free. Just say to say hi or to say hi. Because even when I have my grumpy face on, like I walk around with that's the quote unquote resting bitch face. I do have that, and that is more from growing up being, the leave me alone guy. So I'm trying to shake that face, but now I have it, and so you will notice if you come and say hi, that face goes away right quick. So if you want to say hi to me, feel free. I might be like, hey, hi, but I will say hello. But with regards to the purse clutchers out there, folks, you know what? If you ever want to say hi, just want to get to know me, feel free. I won't say I'm an open book, but I'm willing to talk. Always willing to talk. That's the one thing I don't think people are understanding. That, yes, I'm not gonna lie. I'll say I'm angry, or I was angry, or still am angry with regards to the racial tension that's going on here.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You're okay to be angry.
Yeah. So I'm angry with the racial tension out there, but that doesn't mean that I'm angry at every white person on the entire planet and I don't want to talk, or I understand that you have certain views on certain things, but the only way an argument or an agreement is reached, or an understanding is reached, is through discussion. Yeah. Right? You won't understand if you can't understand why I feel like this. It's not because I was saying earlier, a while ago with a guy I had an argument with. He was telling me that I let the media get to me with regard,
because you haven't experienced anything.
No,
this is just the media telling you that as a black man you should feel this way.
Yes. So, if you feel like having that discussion, and you can understand, I will explain, and we can talk. I'm not a person to yell and scream when it comes to a discussion, heated as it may be. Yeah. So if you have your ways and you don't understand, feel free. We can always talk. There's always room for being level-headed. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean I want to hear that you think that white people are superior, because that's not true. Yeah. We are equal, and that's plain and simple. So when I hear that, I don't want to hear that part. If you want to understand why I feel the way I feel and why I'm experiencing this, then sure, we can talk. Yeah.
Because it's not about hating whites or hating police. It's about hating racism.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm not going to lie to you. There was a portion of my life when I was in university, brief as it may be, it was only a couple months, but where I was that pro-black, down with white people and all that stuff, and then that didn't last long at all. But it's just because you grow up hearing, because like when I went to university, like I said, I was growing up as a one black kid in all. Pretty much, I might as well say I was one black kid in all white school. So when I went to university back in Ottawa, it was all these black people. Wow, all these black people are here, and folks, I want you to understand that. This is the part where, I guess how I could phrase it. This is the part where you can understand that we're all different. When it comes to black people, we're all different. I felt out of place with these black people because I grew up in an all-white society, right? And then, so when I had met black Muslims who were saying, white people were doing this and white people were doing that, and it made me reflect. And I started thinking, white people are doing this. Yeah, white people will not let me get my job, and white people and made me angry just as well, right? Yeah. So people have got to understand that there are different people out there, and we are just as angry and sometimes just as confused. And the only way things can be reached on both ends is through discussion. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, Glenn, I've kept you here 45 minutes longer than I promised.
Yeah, I don't care.
You're all right.
Like, honestly, you know what? This is, I look at this as, when you're asking me for how do I deal with this, this is one of the ways. Like, I need to talk about it. Because, like I said, 46, this is the third or fourth time in public outside talking outside talking to Diane I've ever talked about the racial issues I've had. I've never talked about it with friends prior to this. Like little tidbits here and there, but nothing to let go and help me grow and understand myself.
Yeah. You know, it's just about when we share that, when we express it, when we can go through all those steps, it's a healing process.
Yeah.
And it has to happen a lot and regularly, but it gets better each time. And, you know, I hope those listening, you know, whether it's just, you know, changing your perception a bit of Black people in our community or any, you know, immigrant, anyone, and just taking that opportunity to love and trust, just smile around them, making them feel a little more comfortable so they don't have to take that stress home with them that Glenn deals with each day.
Yeah, just like, folks, man, you gotta understand, we're all, like you said, we're all here together, just going through the same struggle. And like, I guess it's because I grew up from a team mentality. I've played sports all my life, or a good chunk of my life. That I understand that we're a team, no matter what.
Yeah.
I can't be mad at, you know, my defense, you know, or if I'm in a football way, I can't be mad at my defense, you know, and hate them because they're the part I need to help me win. Mm-hmm. And same thing, I can't be mad at my quarterback because he's part for me to help me win.
Yeah.
You know, we are society. We are humans. We need to win. Like, as in, we need to breathe, we need to survive, and we can't do that unless we do it all together.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think we should end on that.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you so much, Glenn.
No problem.
This has been beautiful. And, you know, those listening, you know, please share this. We all need to kind of hear this story and hear these experiences. And the more we listen and learn from this, the better we'll make this community. And, you know, maybe we can make life a little bit easier in this Lynch family. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
It's been wonderful. Thank you for being so honest and open, and we really appreciate it.
No problem. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. All right. That was such an incredible interview with Glenn. I really appreciated him coming down and sharing his stories and what he's been through. I cannot imagine living your life that way where, you know, you're constantly at a state of unease because you're not sure if people are going to accept you, if you feel a part of the community, if you feel safe. Blows my mind. And I know that Glenn, you know, you would assume has easier living here in Okotoks than, say, you know, Detroit or California or wherever it may be in the United States. But still, what a challenge to live that way. And, you know, I've known Glenn for a long time, and he is a sweet soul. He's a good man, a good person, an amazing father and husband. He's a wonderful member of our community. But because he doesn't feel accepted or safe, he hasn't been able to put himself out there in the community or feel, you know, welcome to do so. When I know he is just the man our community needs. And I hope that we as a community can accept and love and support him when we see him, to wave hello and make him feel a little more comfortable, because we as a culture and as a world have a lot to do to work on equality and love and support. And Glenn is one of the victims of that lack of understanding and that systematic, you know, approach we have to whether it's racism or anything in that way where he's being held back. And it hurts to see that and to see the pain in his eyes and the emotion in his stories and, you know, feeling kind of stuck. I want him to know he's loved and accepted and supported in this community. And I know we can do that. You know, whether it's, you know, fear or anger or any of these things, these emotions can hold us back. And I know Glenn's doing his best to let them go and move forward. But this is a case where we need to help him let go of these things. And, when we think about our emotions and our mental health, too often we think it's just this inside job, that the only thing we have to worry about is ourselves. But it's much bigger than that. And as a community, we are really responsible, in a way, for everyone's mental health. And when we make, uncaring remarks or judgments or give looks that are unkind to anyone, that discomfort and that alienation and that hurt causes great damage to their mental health. And we need to be more careful with what we say and do. I know in the past I've said some terrible things and really haven't been there for people. And, I was part of the problem for a long time in my life, and I don't want to be the problem anymore. I want to be part of the solution, and I'm sure you do too. So look for ways and opportunities to support everyone in this community, and especially those that stand out, whether they're transgendered, gay, of color, women. We white men have had it pretty easy for a long time. And if we think, things are getting tough for us or we're being singled out, we still have it pretty damn good, guys. And there's room to spread the joy and to spread the prosperity and the acceptance around. And it's about time that, we take advantage of our role and our position as, affluent, white men or white men in general, to support those that need our help and that deserve a break and to be a part of this big picture. So thank you, Glenn, for your words. And I want to say thank you to those who are listening and those who are, already planning or already are doing good things to help others feel welcome and a part of our community. And, if we continue to work, together and put our community first, for so long, I think we've been pushed with this ideology that, it's all about you. It's all about individual freedom and individual rights and individual this or that, when we forget about how that balance for everyone is what brings us peace and health as well. And I want that for myself and my family and for my community. So let's all look for more opportunities to serve and to show gratitude to those wonderful people in our community. So again, thanks for listening. And if you want to learn more about myself and my courses and our clinic, the links are below. And if you see Glenn out there, say hello and give him a great big smile, because you'll get a huge one back because he's got a great smile. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. And I'm really excited for everyone to hear this. So if this discussion affected you as much as it did me, please share it. Please invite others to listen. Thank you all. We love you. And we're grateful for your ears and the things you do to make our community a better place. Take care.